This episode, operational storage. So we decided we'd have a discussion about operational storage. What does that mean? Well, that means how do you organize your things to keep yourself efficient? This is both for if you're in the handyman business and or in your home. We're going to give you some good tips and tricks on making all of this stuff happen. Welcome to the Handyman Pros radio show, home improvement and maintenance tips from the pros. Thanks for listening to another edition of the Handyman Pros radio show, where our goal is to help save you time, money, and aggravation on your home maintenance and repair. This edition is entitled Operational Storage. And, Johnny, I forgot the script.
Yeah.
I thought I'd break it up.
Here.
So I'm handing it over to you. I'm
here. I'll pull your butt out of this one, Larry. Yeah. So, so yes, we're going to talk about some some storage here. One of the things that a couple of things occurred to me, and the reason that I brought this up, and as we squeeze some time out of our busy schedules here. I've been working on the garage door.
Yes.
I basically rebuilt my two garage doors because I was too damn cheap right now to buy new ones. And they came out great. That'll be for another day, but it's nice to sit down for a minute here and not be working.
Yeah.
But one of the things that I did come across on some of the boards, once again, that we subscribe to, whether it be contractors or handyman type of discussion boards, is trucks and cars and what do you use for your business? That seems to be a thing, and one of the things that Larry, you've got a big stand up 2500. That's perfect for the handyman business.
It's the mini big box on wheels.
It's the that it is, boy. But for some of us, that haven't gone that route, and I know a lot of people are just kind of getting into this gig, and that kind of got me thinking about what how I organize my business, how I seem to have all the things I need for the job with me in a big SUV. And that,
so can I add one thing?
Mm-hmm.
Folks, if you're a homeowner, don't dismiss this show as just being about the business needs, because we're going to talk about a system, if you want to call it that, of organizing your materials in general, so that you have, just to make your life easier. Trust me, that's what it's really all about.
And that's a great catch, Larry. I don't want to lose the homeowner on this one, because this applies to them too. So as you get going in these kind of things, whether you're doing your homeowner, your handyman, whatever, you're doing drywall work, keep all the likes together, all the drywall stuff together. And Larry, you and I both do it in like these storage boxes.
Yep.
These big storage totes.
Yep.
And that's what I would suggest. It works great for me. And I have a rack that I built in my garage that I have actually a couple of them, and I have all these boxes in there, so I don't have to travel around with everything all the time. Now, as a homeowner, if you have a job to do in your house, let's say the kids throw a baseball through the drywall and you got drywall repair, right? You just pull out your drywall box. Everything is there. Okay.
Yes. And if you don't want to buy the box too, it's still keep it all in the same place. Don't change where you move the locations, right? So have a dedicated shelf space or something. We like the boxes because we move all the time. So we can we can just pick that box up and go. And if you want to use a box, that's fine. I'm not saying don't use a box, but I'm just saying, I just want to clarify that it's all about keeping likes with likes, right, John?
Yeah.
And job task things. I call them kits.
They're always right. Like you just kit everything together.
Yep.
So I've got a box that has all my plumbing stuff in it. Not everything, but it's going to get me 90% of the way there. I've got a drywall box that I just was talking about. I've got a box just for electrical.
Yep.
You know, I've got stuff for flooring and tile. I've got a painting box. I've got a box just for fasteners. You know,
Yeah.
I've got nails and everything, but I like to keep it all together. Now, what happened with me was I started off I started off doing what you were just saying, Larry, was, put it all, on a shelf or something all together. The problem that I saw with that was that pretty soon, to me, I wasn't that disciplined, and it got start to get scattered.
Yep. Yep.
Everything. And I'm like, okay, well, I'm tired. I'm done with the job. And I just start, oh, there's an open space, just put it up there. With the box thing, I found that I just put it all back in the box. It may not be as neat inside the box as I once had it, but it's
Yeah.
in
Don't
there.
open my boxes.
But
Just
it's
don't.
in, yeah, I know that, but it's in there.
Right.
So, and then I put it back on the shelf, and there it is. So,
And there it is.
so for me, when I go on a job, I know what the job generally is. That's why we talked about this a lot, about how when you're interfacing with the clients, is that, could you send me a picture of what you got going? What exactly do you have? And then it's like, well, I've got the drywall issue, and I've got this or whatever, boom. Here's my go-to box. Put that into now I carry a lot of stuff with me all the time anyways, but
Right.
there's a lot of specifics for the jobs, a specific job that I don't have, which I'm not going
So,
to tote around. So,
question. Do you put a checklist inside your boxes? Like, so if you're doing a drywall job, do you have a checklist for a drywall job? I mean, I know you basically don't need it, but do you use a checklist in that case?
checklist for, give me an example
Uh,
for the materials in the box.
well, more for like, okay, so I'm doing a drywall job. Do I have mix mud? Do I have finish mud? Do I have my knives? Do I have, and now I keep all like that stuff, but there are certain things that move around. Particularly like for me, it's the between the concrete and the tile box, there's a lot of tools like
Yeah.
trowels and things that I
Right.
carry two different.
Right.
They're the same tool for each job, but they're in different places. So I always I have a checklist in those boxes. Like, I'm doing a tile job, I make sure I've got, do I have a trowel? Do I have my cutting blade? My concrete cutting blades with
Yeah.
me, because
Yeah.
concrete cuts tile, that kind of stuff. So I mix those tools because for economy's sake. I don't need to, and I don't use them enough to require two sets of diamond cutting blades for
Yeah.
tile, aka, or whatever, concrete as well. So do you keep a checklist in there,
I
or would
don't.
you
That's a
suggest
great
that?
idea, though. That's a good
Yeah.
tip. I don't. And it would be pretty easy. I'd just take a piece of painter's tape and stick it
Well,
in the box, and right on. So,
and there's another tip right there, folks. Use
yeah.
that painter's tape for stuff like that, because A, you can take it off if you need to, and B, it's there, right?
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. I mean, I've got all my boxes marked with the painter's tape, plumbing, electrical,
Yep.
whatever. And I got them all, like I said, stuck on the shelf. And I carry a lot of stuff with me, but like I said, not to do a big job. So sometimes I'll have a little bit of some, mud with me and stuff like that. And we've talked about this before, how I go about it. But I'll tell you, in my drywall box, instead of me carrying big bags of, hot mud or mixed mud or whatever, I put it into old milk containers, and I've got those milk containers. It looks like milk. And get pulled over by the cops, and
what's
hey,
all this
yeah,
white
what's all
powder?
this
That's
white
what they're asking
powder?
you, Johnny. And why is it
Yeah.
all up under your nose?
Right.
Oh, never
Right. Yeah, it's drywall dust. So I got some 20-minute mud. I've got some 45-minute mud that I always carry with me in that box. And you can't believe how much you can put into a half-gallon milk container. Anyways, they fit nice and neat inside the box.
Yep.
And not that I'm doing these great big jobs. These are just repairs. I'm not doing a whole basement, of course.
Right.
That'd be a different story. But if I have to go out and repair, some big patches and stuff, I got plenty of that in there. And it's got the tape, and it's got the trace, and it's got, a hawk in there, and it's got other things that, the knives and everything, and boom, pull it out. I'm good to go. So I have found that to be very efficient way to be able to utilize the space I have in the SUV to do a number of different jobs. So so let me say that here's the downside of that is that I can't go out perhaps like you do and say, okay, I'm done with that job. Is there other things I can do for you today? I might not have other specifics to do that. I
Right.
probably will, but if it's another job like a big electrical job, I don't have those.
Yeah,
Now
you're missing materials.
I
Yep.
always do carry all my electrical tools and things like that with me. At some point, we'll go through the what do we carry all the time with us anymore. And that was a big I think that was a big show once when we did that. What's in your tool belt, so of
Yeah,
things.
we did that. There's a video
Yeah,
out there on our YouTube
yeah.
station.
And I think we need to do that. We'll probably come back and look at that again because after a few years, I think things really got efficient. But anyways, that's the way I did it, and I just kind of looked around the other day and in my garage, and I had all the boxes stacked up, and I've got some jobs to do, and I'm actually a flooring job, and I pulled out my flooring box, and I hadn't done LVP for a little while, and all my stuff is right there,
And there it is,
and
ready to
it's
rock and
yeah,
roll.
ready to rock and roll. So
And so that's our system, right? I mean, and I do the same thing. I think I just wanted to make one comment. My biggest single, I have multiple boxes in this case, are a combination of, I'll call them the incidentals, the things like fasteners. So, how many different screws? I have a lot of
yeah,
different
and that
screws,
goes on and on too.
and it goes on and on. And caulk, I've got 4 or 5 different kinds of caulk, and just kind of those incidentals. I do carry a lot of that stuff. And because the last thing that I personally want to do is have to run
That's
off
right.
to go get 4 screws, and it's happened, right? It's happened. It's happened to you. It's happened to me. But it's like, oh, this is such, so I keep all that stuff pretty well organized, and I
Yep.
generally buy in bulk because it's kind of one of those things that there is that advantage to buying in bulk. But anyway, that's what I carry the most of. Johnny, we got anything else on this topic? I think it's been pretty good. And if you're the homeowner, it's really the same thing. The whole point of having it organized in a kit kind of format in some way or another. We don't care if you use a cardboard box, but you're right. You said it, John. You're right. You're doing a project at home. You're tired. You just slap it up on the shelf. And the next thing you know, you've got 8,000 different things mixed in with each other, and then you're going like, where the heck's my XYZ, whatever. It doesn't even matter. But it's a mess. Keep it all in a kit, and it's at least all in the same area. If you're looking for electrical, you go to that electrical box, and away you go.
Yeah.
And it should be there. And if you've crossed the boxes, that's your fault. you
Yeah,
know
yeah. I think overall this time that I've been doing this is that this thing seems to work. This system seems to work the best for me.
yep.
So I'll just kind of recap. A lot of like the fasteners. I'll carry a certain amount of different fasteners with me all the time in my tool bag. I use maybe some old vitamin bottles or something, and I'll just jam it full of some uh, inch and a quarter drywall screws.
Drywall screws.
Then I'll have another big thing in there with just some construction screws and decks, exterior screws. Not that I'm going to do a deck with it, but you always need like
One or
one.
two.
And
It's always it's small
instead of going
numbers.
back out to the truck to get them, and I carry more out there, but in my bag I always have a couple of them, and I make sure I do because there's always that one opportunity that kind of always shows itself. Hey, I need to screw this down, or I need to do this, and I wish I had a little screw here. I got them with me, so I kind of do that.
And the big tip that I have for that, particularly on those types of materials, screws, nuts and bolts, stuff like that, save your clear plastic containers, like your containers from peanut butter jars, and a lot of food containers have clear plastic. To me, the advantage of that is
You can
I
see it.
look through and I see what it is. I don't have to read. I don't have to think. It's like, there it is. Grab it and rock and roll.
So
The ones I really like are like Talente containers. The Talente ice cream containers. That size, it's like a good form size. But anyway, keep
yeah,
going.
it's kind of funny. So the storage boxes I've been referring to here, and I should kind of started off with this, was these 12-gallon, they're 12-gallon tote that you can find in the big box stores.
I use 27. And I'll tell you, don't, because they're heavy. Holy
Well,
smokes.
that's the thing. That's the thing. And then you every once in a while you'll find the ones that are clear, which are great. Because I have one that I've just have my excess caulking materials in, and now I can see what kind of caulk that I still have.
Yep.
And I actually in one of my main caulking box that I take with me, I stand up the caulk, with the nozzle up, and
Yep.
I actually take a marker, and I mark on the very top of that thing what the caulk is, so I can just, they're all standing up, and I can just pull it out.
Oh, there you go.
So to keep it, neat and the caulking gun and everything. Anyways, but this, when I was looking at this the other day, and I had to go through a couple of boxes, I thought, well, it's a pretty good little tip here to, I don't know how anybody else works with this. And I'm sure, you can go, the sky's the limit on this kind of stuff, but for, cheapness of just, getting the job done, it works great. These tote boxes seem to work great, and they stack well.
Yeah, they have a good form factor.
Yeah. So anyways,
and actually, John, you bring that up. It's a great point. Folks, if you're using a system out there that's better or different,
let us know.
Email.
Yeah,
please.
Absolutely.
Send us an email, because we'd like to see that. I'd like to know, I really would like to know what other people are doing myself. And even if you're a homeowner, what do you do? Do you are like in the contracting business, DeWalt, Milwaukee, and all these guys make these stackable totes on wheels and stuff. My big thing with that is that they're quite pricey, which is not, you get what you pay for. They're really high quality stuff. I'm not arguing that, but it's really pricey. The other thing I don't like about them is that I don't know when they're going to change that form factor. I know when I buy these totes, they're basically ad infinitum. They're not going to get rid of them anytime soon. They're always going to be the same, and I can replace them when they inevitably do break, because they inevitably do break. I've never had anything that doesn't break, because I can break a bowling ball. But be that as it may, that's part of the other side of it, and plus flexibility. But let us know what you do. Send us an email, questions at Handyman Pros Radio Show or Handyman Pros Radio Show at gmail.com. Either way, send us an email. Let us know what you're using. Post it on our Facebook group too. That's at Handyman Pros on Facebook, because we just kind of like to see what everybody's using. I mean, I know a lot of people use the enclosed containers. Some use containers like we use. It's just different. Everybody's got a little bit different system.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. So,
Johnny, what kind of system do they use on the spaceship?
I don't know, but I was just fascinated that you were breaking bowling balls.
Well, I could break an anvil too.
You're a ball breaker.
I could break an anvil too. Come on.
Real ball breaker.
It's a whole nother aside when somebody told me that. Hey, this guy can break a bowling ball. I'm like, oh yeah, that's a feat. That's a feat. All right, folks, if you enjoy the Handyman Pros Radio Show, please send links off to your friends and neighbors. Let them know that we might have something useful to say here. If you do have any questions and comments and or concerns, as we've already said, send us an email, questions at handymanprosradioshow.com or handymanprosradioshow at gmail.com. Either one will get you to us. We do have a website. It's handymanprosradioshow.com. We have a free newsletter you can sign up for. We'll send you all kinds of good, groovy, fun stuff. And we've talked about our Facebook group also at Handyman Pros. So with that, thanks for listening. We will see you next week on the Handyman Pros Radio Show.